So last night, Mr. Phil Danault returned to Montreal, gets the win, plays a fairly good game, and for me, man, I think for a lot of us, I'm still processing that he is not on our team, just like some of the other guys we lost in this offseason. It's tough. And now for him to be another former Canadian to come into Montreal and have a good night, it kind of stinks. But you know what? The moment and his tribute last night, I thought that was very special. I love that eventually the crowd stood up and gave him the standing ovation because he deserves it, man. He was a special player in Montreal, the best center this team's had since Thomas Plekanec. The furthest the Habs have been in the playoffs since 1993, and he was a big part of that in the most recent cup run for the Habs. I've always been a huge fan of Phil Danault ever since we acquired him. He worked his way up through the Habs lineup. He earned the minutes that he was given, and he played a very important role for this team. There was a lot of talk that he had the ceiling of a third line center, and that may be partially true, but I'd like to view him as more of a second line C, especially when you take into account the defensive ability that he has. And you know what? He is very strong skating up the ice. Great speed, good through the neutral zone. He can enter the zone. He's real strong behind the net too, recovering pucks, winning battles, then getting that puck into the slot. Let's not forget he's had a 40 assist season just a few years ago, another 34 assist season, I do believe. And I think that's something the Habs are seriously lacking right now, is that playmaking down the middle. I thought Dvorak could come in and make a big difference for the Habs and make up some of the time that, Danault was leaving behind, because he was playing 18 to 20 minutes a night, just like he did last night for LA. But so far, Dvorak has not quite been the defensive stalwart and the 200-foot player that he was advertised as. He's one of the worst in the league in terms of a plus-minus. Our penalty kill has not been good. So, you know what? And all that said, I do still like Dvorak. I think he's just in a bit, over his head. Probably didn't realize the tough matchups, or maybe he did. It's just the reality of it is the East is a lot stronger than the West, and now he's over here, and the matchups are really difficult. But you know what? The impact of Phil Danault and the loss of Phil Danault has been felt by this Montreal Canadiens organization. Not his greatest game tonight in Montreal. Now, mind you, he could have scored a goal, but Jake Allen absolutely robbed him. He goes 45% in the dot, which is kind of unlike him, but he's having a good season so far in LA and fitting in right away. 8 points in 13 games. I know he was looking for a more offensive role in his new team. A lot of people laughed at him for that, but he's having a good season so far and he's starting to rack up the points. And we also got to consider that, look at what he did in Toronto a couple nights ago. 2 goals and an assist, and he has been a pain in the ass for Austin Matthews for a while. I think Austin has only scored 2, maybe 3 5-on-5 goals against him in his entire career. To me, that's the perfect shutdown center you want to keep in the Atlantic Division, considering the centers that we have to go up against on the regular. So for him to be able to shut down guys like Austin Matthews and match up against the Barkovs and the Braden Points and et cetera, I have a feeling the Habs are really going to regret letting him walk if they don't already. I think Gallagher is kind of trying to find his way without his former line mate. And, it's strange. All I can think of is the what ifs, Like, what if we were able to keep the guy? Personally, I believe, and I'm on record saying it last season, that he is worth $5.5 million, on a midterm contract. And that's kind of what he got, He got the 5.5 for 6 years. And I understand that would have been a contract hard for the Montreal Canadiens to swallow. But if we had known, and if Bergevin had known Kotkaniemi was going to get stolen by the Carolina Hurricanes, I have a feeling they might have done a bit better job, or they might have pursued Phil Danault a little better in free agency, or to get that extension locked up for him, because down the middle Montreal right now, it has been rough. So, what if we get him signed on that contract? Would he have been willing to accept the same deal in Montreal? Or was he looking for more money, considering the tax situation and the pressure in Montreal and blah, blah, blah? Who knows? There is an aspect of it where Phil Danault wanted to leave. It seemed that way, but what if we were able to keep him? I understand there's long-term implications and his contract would have been hard to deal with towards the end, but I think you figure that out when the time comes. And the KK stuff, I think, would have happened regardless. So then we were in a position to have Phil Danault, to have Nick Suzuki locked up, then we get the option of either going out and spending that first-round pick on Christian Dvorak, and I like that look down the middle too, Suzuki, Danault, and Dvorak. Or we keep the first-round picks and move forward with Suzuki and Danault and still have some sort of a transition year, a somewhat of a reset, considering how this team is playing right now. I mean, all this is in hindsight, so it's all hard to say, but I don't know. I just wanted to make this video to say I'm very proud of the hockey that Phil Danault played in Montreal. I had an absolute blast following him for the franchise for many years. Would have liked to see him stick around a little longer. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Let me know what you think about this whole situation down in the comments. The players we've lost, specifically Phil Danault, and if you think, this team would be better off with them, or was it the right thing to move on from him? Anyway, cheers, guys. And this is Mr. Cole, by the way. His very first video on the Scotian Canadian channel, making his debut. That's right, big boy. Yeah. He loves his Habs, and just like the rest of the kids, and he's a cutie. Anyway, guys, go Habs, go. He did it again. I'll talk to you soon.